going on, guys? Stefan here at S&E's Garage, and today we have my personal 05 Avalon in the shop, and we're going to do a coolant service. Now, this car had a water pump done by the dealership in 2017 at right around 27-ish thousand miles, and it's got around 32 on it now. Actually 33, but it's been several years since then. 17 was how many years ago now? 3. So it's due for another coolant service, and I'm big on maintaining my cars so they don't break down on me. So we're gonna get this started. I'm using Toyota Super Long Life coolant. It's original equipment. I use original equipment fluids on all of my cars. It's just the way I am. I feel that the original manufacturer spec the fluid out for their car that they built, so they should know best. I don't buy into the whole AMSOIL for transmission fluid or any special type of coolants. I use what the car was originally equipped with, and I've had very good luck. So let's go ahead. We're going to get this valence off, the radiator caps up under that, and then we're going to get the car up in the air, locate the petcock, not to be confused with a rooster. And we're going to drain the radiator. So let me get this shield off, valence, whatever you want to call it, and I'll show you where the cap is on this car. It's an 05 Avalon, but this is basically going to be a video on how to service your cooling system on any car. They're all the same for the most part. So let's get started. Alright guys, so we got our valence off. There's our radiator cap. Now before you start here, you're always going to want to make sure you do this on a cold engine, because coolant can be very hot. So the first thing you're just going to want to do, like I said, make sure it's cold, and you want to make sure the cooling system isn't pressurized. So if you just grab the upper hose, a little bit of a squeeze, you want to make sure, number one, like I said, it's not hot and it's not firm. If it's firm, your cooling system's still pressurized, wait. Now when you pull your cap off, you're going to want to pull it off very slowly so you don't get burned. So you just kind of twist it like this, lift it up, and there we go. Now you can see it's a little crusty in there, so it is due for a coolant service. And I like to leave the cap and all of my clips up here on the wiper cowl so I don't lose them, because I will if I don't do that. So we got our radiator cap off now. Let's get up under the car. I'm going to lift it up and we'll find the petcock. Here we are up under the Avalon, and we've located our petcock right there. Let me grab my flashlight to get a better view of it. Here it is. And Toyota was nice enough to put a little hole where it actually drains, right here in the shield, so you don't have to take it down. But let's go ahead, unscrew that, start draining. There we go. Let it drain till it stops. I'll be back with you in a minute. Now as our coolant is draining, I'm just looking around, and I actually found the block drain to drain the engine block. So after this is done, we're going to crack that open, or attempt to crack it open, and see what kind of coolant comes out. Maybe we can get the block drain too. So we went ahead and opened that block drain too. It's pretty easy. A little 10mm bolt right at the top, and coolant just pouring out. I mean, it's making a little bit of a mess, but this is as close to a flush as I'm going to be able to get, because I'm draining the whole engine block too. So let's let it drain. Alright guys, so the block is just about drained, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that, and I'm just going to let that drain a little bit more. So we got that thing about 1/4 of the way full, and we filled up a garbage pail pretty high with what was in the block. So I'd say we got a pretty good drain out of this thing. The only thing that's left to drain is the coolant overflow, but we're going to use a Mighty Vac to suck that out. So shortly I'm going to be closing these up and lower the car down, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to fill this thing. So stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back topside here with the Avalon. The engine block is drained, the radiator is drained, and we're ready to fill it. Now there's two different methods here you can use to fill it. You can either use the spill-proof funnel, which is okay. The only issue with that is it creates air pockets inside of the engine, and then you have to sit there with the engine running and wait for the thermostat to open to then, you know, bleed the air out of the system. Like I said, nothing wrong with that, but it's time consuming, and I'm a flat rate automotive technician, so if I can buy something that's going to save me some time, I will. So what I am going to use is my Airlift. And what this does is it basically puts the whole cooling system in a vacuum, and it sucks the coolant in. That way it fills all the voids. I don't have to worry about air pockets being in the cooling system. I don't have to worry about the car overheating while I'm trying to burp it. It just makes my job 10 times easier as a technician, and I know for a fact the car is leaving the shop correctly. So like I said, I'm going to use this on my personal car also. The way it works is you have a little cone here. This little cone will go into the radiator, and then we set up our hose with one of the kits, and it basically, like I said, it's going to put the cooling system under a vacuum. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Alright, so we got our cooling system in a vacuum. You can see the arrow is in the green, which means it's ready to go. So I poured a gallon of coolant in a clear container so that I can see when I'm running out, because I'm probably going to have to put more than 1 gallon in this thing. So now that I have that on a vacuum, I'm going to take my hose here. I'm going to stick this end. Let me put you down. Alright, perfect. I'm going to stick this end with the strainer into the coolant like this, and I'm going to plug this end into my Airlift. Move this over. Perfect. Now I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to open this valve, and I'm going to open this valve, and you'll see the coolant. Make sure you can still see it. There we go. You'll see that level start to drop quickly. And there it goes. So now the car is basically filling itself with coolant. Once I get to a certain point, I'm going to have to shut this off and add more coolant to my container, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to shut this back off. Okay, I'm going to grab my coolant. You know what? I'm just going to do it right out of here. Let's open this up. Okay, we're going to pull this out. Just stick it in here. We're going to open this back up. This thing is taking a ton of coolant. Alright, we're getting low again. Switch it back over here. See how much more we get out of it. Still coming. Alright, and she's full. So she took 2 gallons of coolant.
2 gallons? God damn.
So once we're all done with our Airlift, we're just gonna top it off until the fluid comes up out of the filler neck of the radiator. Shouldn't really take much. Yeah, see? So now we can go ahead and get our Mighty Vac, and we are going to suck the contents of the reservoir, you know, the overflow, out and fill that up with fresh coolant also. Alright, so we got our radiator cap on, we got our Mighty Vac set up. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to both of these items that I used, both my Airlift and the Mighty Vac, in the description, so you guys can buy these if you want. If you're not going to be working on cars all the time, like I said, the spill-proof funnel method will work fine for filling the cooling system. This way is just faster. So let's go ahead and suck it dry. Slowly but surely. Alright, so we have our reservoir completely empty. Now you're going to want to take a look down there, make sure there's no sediment or anything. If there is, you're going to want to take this thing out and rinse it out with some distilled water and clean it. But mine's clean, so I'm not going to worry about that. And like I said, I used original equipment, 50/50 pre-diluted, super long life Toyota coolant. You don't have to mix it with anything, it's specifically for these cars. So we're just going to go ahead and fill up our overflow and fire the car up. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're in the Avalon. We're going to fire her up. And there she is, 2005 with 33,000 miles on it. You can see why I wanted to change the coolant. The thing just sat its whole life. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to let it run, let it get through a heat cycle, make sure I don't have any leaks, make sure the petcock's not leaking or anything, and then we're good to go. After you do a cooling service on your car, you're going to want to monitor the overflow for the next week or so, because there's always the possibility that there are some air bubbles that are still in the engine that will take care of themselves. You know, they'll burp themselves, but what that will do is cause your reservoir, your overflow to drop. So you're just going to want to keep an eye on that, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hopefully I helped you, and keep on driving.